Welcome back to Onebar and Lupagus Show. I am Lupagus, Minnesota Vikings. There's news going on. There's some nuggets. We're going to talk about everything that's been going on with the Vikings the last couple of days. Huge week for the Vikings coming up. Detroit coming to town. Huge game in the NFC North. Huge game in the NFC playoff ramifications. Running rampant through this one. Before we get started, this video is brought to you by Top to Tater, the best dip you can get. It is the dip for game day. Same recipe for 60 years, made right here in Minnesota. It is the dip people come home for. It's the dip that tastes like home. Thank you, Top Tater, for sponsoring this video. Run to your local gas station, grocery store, stock up. Sunday's just a few days away, and dipping your chips in Top Tater, your veggies, your fingers makes game day a little bit better. Top Tater, hit them up. All right, so let's talk about some Minnesota Vikings news and nuggets. The first one, we all knew it was coming. Jaylen Redmond signed back to the practice squad. Vikings let him go. I believe that's when they put Myles Gaskin on the active 53. The corresponding move was to let Jaylen Redmond go. And, this guy's a great story. He was a UFL guy who was a long shot to make the team. He makes the final 53. He's even got a sack on the year. He's played in a few games, 2 games. He has a sack, a tackle for loss. It's probably all the same play. But the fact he overcame the odds and made the team. He's a guy I want to keep on this team. I'm glad he's back on the practice squad. I was a little worried somebody might try to snap him up. And obviously, being on the practice squad, he's always open to someone coming up and just taking him and signing him to their active 53. But again, he's back in purple where he belongs. Welcome back, Jaylen Redmond. Aaron Jones, he partook in practice the other day, yesterday actually. Looked very good. There's video of him out there on Twitter, just kind of running, moving, stretching a little bit. You wouldn't know he was hurt by looking at that tape. Hopefully, this is just a good sign, a positive sign. He builds off this. He practices a little bit more today. Tomorrow, the injury report comes out. We'll see how they list him. But this has to be seen as good news on the Aaron Jones front. Having him against Detroit is vital. We have to have a run game. We cannot have Sam Darnold throw it 50 times to beat the Detroit Lions. Ty Chandler also has to step up regardless if Jones is back or not. But Aaron Jones needs to be healthy for the Vikings to win this game against the Lions. TJ Hockinson was also at practice yesterday, and Dougie Wolfson had some notes on him. He watched him very closely. He said he looks phenomenal, and he wrote that in all caps. Phenomenal. TJ Hockinson out there looking great. He said, if you're asking me right now, Hockinson looks ready to go. He just doesn't know if the Vikings are going to be that aggressive and activate him. And that's, that's kind of been KOC's thing, easing guys back into the lineup. But Sam Darnold, last 6 quarters of football haven't been great. I believe his passer rating is like a 58.8. No touchdowns in that time that he's thrown. Interception, I think maybe 2 interceptions in there. So having a guy like TJ Hockinson can help a guy who's maybe in just a tiny bit of a slump right now get through that. Having this dynamic pass-catching option at tight end and just a guy who can, once the ball's in his hands, he can make things happen, will be huge for Sam Darnold and huge for this offense. So hopefully the Vikings activate him. I'd love to see him active against Detroit, get some revenge against the team that put him on the shelf for almost a year, especially Kirby Joseph. But we'll see what happens. Again, if KOC is kind of slow playing this, and we have a game Thursday right after the Lions won, so maybe he wants to wait, not have him play 2 games in the span of 5 days. We'll see what he decides. But TJ Hockinson watch is officially started. And it's good news when Doogie's out there saying that, he looks damn good. Last one is Dalton Risner. He was interviewed after practice yesterday. He said he's 100% back to 100% healthy, no issues with the back. And he said he's comfortable playing left or right guard. I don't see the Vikings moving Blake Brandel off of left guard, but right guard is the potential spot for Dalton Risner, taking over for Ed Ingram, he's been Ed Ingram. Good in the run game. He makes some very impressive blocks. He can deplete people. If he gets his hands on somebody, it's a good chance they're going to be pushed well out of the way. Pass blocking has always been the issue with him, and just he hits the quarterback. He steps on our guys. He does things that just makes you scratch your head. So yeah, Dalton Risner, we'll see again. I don't think, I'd be shocked if all of a sudden, boom, he's your starting right guard this week against Detroit. I don't think that's the case. I think Ed Ingram goes out there, and when he starts really, really struggling, like he tends to do, that's when we'll see a switch. Maybe it's mid-game, and then Risner kind of takes over and becomes the starter. I think it's going to happen at some point. I just don't think it's going to be right away and be this weekend. So those are your latest Vikings news and nuggets. Again, hit up Top Potato. You will not regret it. Variety of flavors. Best damn dip you can get. Thank you for Top Potato for sponsoring this video. And everybody, keep your skull in your hole.